Today on Triad Perspectives, one young lady shares her journey to becoming a queen. Also, a former queen becomes an advocate for helping young women become leaders. And this program recognizes female rising stars. Stay with us. Young ladies who earn the title of Miss A&T are among the most hardworking and dedicated students ever. With me now to discuss the duties and responsibilities of the Queen is the current Miss A&T Myja Gary. Nice to have you with us.
I'm glad to be here.
And I'm glad. It was nice to have a chance to teach you last semester.
Me
You did
too.
well. You did well.
Thank you so much.
But now, how did you become Miss A&T? What did you have to do?
So we went through a pageant process, and through the pageant process, we did an interview, we did an introduction, talent, and then we did an on-stage question and answer. From there, the judges picked the top 3 candidates, and from there, we went through a full-blown election process for about maybe a week and a half of campaigning, hardcore campaigning, and then the student body voted.
So did you intend to come to A&T and try for Miss A&T?
Oh, absolutely not. A&T was actually last on my list. I've grown up in predominantly white areas, so to think of an HBCU was completely absurd to me. But I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. I wanted to do something different. And once I did my research, I learned that A&T had a really good journalism program. And so that's what, I was really passionate about. They say that, the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. So I said, hey, I'm just going to take the risk. And I went for it.
And that's what happened. Okay, when you got here, how did you find out about the Miss A&T?
During orientation, there was this young lady named Catherine Hamlin. She was Miss A&T 2012, 2013. She was gorgeous. She was so gorgeous, and I remember she would come into orientation. She had this really small voice, but she was so powerful. Everything she said just made you like, you just wanted to listen. And so I told myself I wanted to be her. I didn't know what she did. I didn't know what the title was. I didn't know what she was responsible for, but I wanted to be that person.
And you are that person now.
Today I am, yes.
So what is it you have to do other than to just look gorgeous and dressed up all the time?
Well, that's probably about 85 to 90% of what I do, but I am the representation of the university, so every week or so I'm always being called to show face somewhere, or to sit on a panel, or to go to a dinner or to a gala, and things like that. But I also do community service for the entire student body, so. And I also do empowering, uplifting, and kind of mentorship programs for men and women on A&T's campus.
So are you overwhelmed?
It can be overwhelming. But I just try to determine what's more important to me. At the end of the day, I didn't come to A&T to be Miss A&T. I love this job. I love what I do. But, I'm a student first. So I always try to keep, my priorities in order. And like I said, yeah, it does get overwhelming. But, I've learned to manage. I've learned to balance, my social life with my academic life, as well as my Miss A&T life.
So your Miss A&T life is not just here on this campus?
No.
So what other places do you go to?
I think that it's extremely important. It's extremely prevalent, in Greensboro, in North Carolina. Now, outside of North Carolina, it's a little bit more different. A lot of people don't know about, what Miss A&T is, unless I'm at another HBCU, because, the other HBCUs have kings and queens as well. But it's really, really, really important in North Carolina. So I always have to, watch what I'm doing, watch what I'm wearing, watch what I'm saying in public at all times.
Now, that's tough.
It is.
That's very tough. Yeah.
It is, but I think that I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's manageable because that's who I am already. In learning to build my brand, and in learning to be professional and become this woman that, I'm destined to be, that's what I have to do, whether I'm Miss A&T or Miss Senior, or just Myja, that's something that I have to do in terms of protecting my brand and continuing to build it up.
So for the students who are watching now, not just from A&T, but students all over the area who see this show, how, if they say, I want to be like her, in other words, I want a title, what's the first thing they do?
Usually when students want a title, they usually will go to that specific person. They'll run to that specific person and ask about, what do you have to do? How does it feel? How did you get there? Do you think I'm a good candidate for that? So they'll usually run to that person and maybe friends, just to kind of see how their friends will perceive them in that position.
What about all this fancy stuff you have to wear? When I see her, she's always got great earrings and necklaces and bracelets and the whole act. Do you have to buy all of that yourself?
Yes, I do. There are some occasions where A&T does provide these things, but most of the time it's when I'm representing A&T. For example, when I go to the Hall of Fame pageant, they buy most of my clothes for that pageant because I'm mandated to go. It's not really a choice. So they do help out a lot financially with that. Trying to think of what else. Oh, homecoming. Homecoming is a big one that they're financially supportive with clothes and jewelry and all the other type of stuff. So yeah, but it can get expensive. It can definitely get expensive.
Sure it does. So for little ones that are watching this show who haven't come to college yet, what words of advice would you give them to prepare? Maybe not to be Miss A&T or to be Miss Freshman, Junior, Senior, Miss anybody on a campus.
I think that coming to college, whether you are pursuing a higher position or not, it's really about understanding that you don't have to have it all figured out. A lot of times we get into, freshman year, sophomore year, and, especially like people with undeclared majors, they're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. Even seniors now, we're all like, oh my God, graduation is less than 90 days away.
I don't have a job yet.
I don't have a job yet. I don't know what's getting ready to happen, but it's okay to not have it figured out. It's okay to not have it figured out. But I think that the most important thing is having a passion for what you do and what you love to do. It's not always about, the money or the profit or anything like that. It's about loving what you do. So you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have the, 100K job or, whatever. It's just about having a passion for what you do, loving what you do.
Well, I loved having you in my class last semester, and I know that you're going to make us proud.
Yes, ma'am.
Anywhere you go
Yes, ma'am.
around the world.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Myja.
Thank you so much.
And she's Myja Gary, who is Miss A&T. We'll have to take a quick break right now, and when we come back, you'll hear how one foundation is preparing young girls for a successful future. Stay with us.
This is the North Carolina A&T State University Historical Minute. I'm Marilyn Parker. The Dudley Memorial Building houses more stone applications than any other building on A&T's campus. A sweep of 15 stones guide visitors to the main entrance. Built in 1893, the original facility contained a library, an auditorium, and administrative offices. In 1930, a fire led to a reconstruction, and the facility was renamed after A&T's second president, James B. Dudley. Today, the building is home to the Maddie Reed African Heritage and H.C. Taylor Art Galleries, music classrooms, and laboratories. The Dudley Memorial Building is located on the east side of campus, directly behind the statue of the A&T 4 and right across from Dudley Road.
Welcome back to Triad Perspectives. Education and leadership skills are detrimental to successful careers. The Queen's Foundation helps young girls to reach their full potential. Here with me to explain how is Executive Director of the Queen's Foundation, Nadia Shirin Moffett. Nadia, it's so great to see you. I see you often, and it's good to see you.
Thank you.
And I've got to tell the viewers right up front, you were Miss North Carolina in 2010.
Yes.
Was it Miss North Carolina USA?
USA,
Now,
yes.
what does that mean?
So the title is part of the Miss Universe organization. So there are two major pageant systems in the world, the Miss America and the Miss Universe. And so what differentiates is the Miss North Carolina USA versus the Miss North Carolina by itself.
So how did you decide to do that, or who decided it for you?
That's a great question. I actually tell people a lot of time God did. I was 23 at the time. I had just graduated college from UNCG, was in a great corporate career, And about 6 months in my job, I was, learning all of these great things. I was in a great leadership program. But, some reason, I would leave home or leave work every day and, come home and just want more. And I got involved in service organization. I was doing things in the community. And one day I went to my sorority sister's house after work and was sitting on her bed, and we were just chatting, watching TV, and I said, I'm going to run for Miss North Carolina. And she goes, what?
You're gonna what?
She was right there. She can support or confirm. I literally Googled right then and there how to run for Miss North Carolina, and
you ran and you got it.
Yeah, and I think that it was really a stepping stone for the work that I do now. My life is completely different from the way that I thought it was going to be as a senior in college. But I think that was something that the Lord wanted me to do in order to give me the resources and some of the relationships needed to really propel the organization forward.
So now you're working with the Queen's Foundation.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So kind of similarly, when I was out of college and in my corporate career, I was loving the opportunity to learn business, and the company I worked for was wonderful. But I just had some hunger inside of me for more. And so within the first 6 months of graduating college and having this corporate career, I was spending my time outside of work working with service organizations, and there was something that I had always seen as an issue from my time in college, from my time in grade school, and that was young women really measuring up to their potential. And for some reason or another, in my life, I've always had the opportunity, or I've been put in positions where I could influence other girls, other young women, my peers. And so with that being said, I had a little bit of extra money now because I was, graduated college, had my first job. I had time on my hands, and I put it to action and started a service program. So almost these two things aligned, having this harebrained idea to run for Miss North Carolina. Didn't even know who the current Miss North Carolina was when I decided to run. And then this other idea that I just wanted to serve. And so I started a program for young girls, worked with Boys and Girls Clubs, local churches, organizations. And so when I actually won at age 24, these two things aligned, and now I had a very significant work to do in the community for young women, and then I had a platform to stand on to do it. I had a crown on my head.
So tell me what you do with the girls that are in the Queen's Foundation.
So, when we started the organization, we were doing very small programs and workshops, but wow, the organization has grown. So when I started it in 2008, the first 2 years we were just doing workshops here and there. The program now is a comprehensive 4 to 7 year experience for a girl when she joins us. We are a statewide nonprofit based here in Greensboro, but we serve 4 regions: Triad, Triangle, Charlotte, and Rocky Mount. And the girls come into our program in 7th or 9th grade, and they're with us until they have completed their first year of college.
Do they have to apply to be in it, or
They
do you select
but they
them?
have to first be nominated. We partner with North Carolina Public Schools that are Title I, so they are lower performing, high number of students who live in poverty. And there are a lot of reasons why we do that, but I won't get into all of that. But these schools, there's 18 across the state, representing these 4 regions. They nominate students that have high levels of motivation, but also high obstacles to overcome. Girls who, even though they have the talent and skills, may not ever fully reach the potential that they have
the
inside of them.
opportunities, yeah.
Right. So statistically, these girls have below a 20% chance of going to college, and we have 95% of our girls go on to a 4-year university.
That is great.
But we are not really just focusing on the girls. Our program is actually not about the girls. It's actually about what these girls can do for their families and for the community. We are an economic development initiative.
How many girls do you have?
We have total 240 who have come through our program.
Wow.
And right now, 95% of them have matriculated onto a four-year university.
Aren't you proud of that?
I am.
Yes.
I am. But I will say we still have 86 that are of the middle and high school age. So they are girls we're still working with that to make that transition. This is our first year we're not bringing in a group of new girls because we're even upping even more the work we do with them. We're doing a summer boarding school experience to help them get prepared for the rigor of high school,
and I'll
rigor
tell you,
of college.
And here in the century we live in now, they're going to have more than any girl has ever had before.
Yes.
I believe.
It is. I mean, the truth is that the world is going to try to dumb girls down. You know, I came to the realization as a young adult that my whole life have dumbed myself down. I may have been the girl in class that knew the answer, but I didn't ever raise my hand and actually give it. I didn't want to come off as the know-it-all.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I didn't ask the follow-up question because I didn't want to be perceived as pushy, and that is a problem. But separate from all of those things that we can all say we face, these girls come from challenging circumstances. You know, they have this drive and this motivation to succeed, but they're loyal to their families. And sometimes that can even be to their detriment. If that means staying at home to help mom watch their younger siblings instead of going to college, or getting a job instead of staying after school for tutoring. And so what our program is to do is to give them these competitive resources that they would not otherwise have access to at their age, you know, an internship with a corporation, a professional mentor who might be the VP of HR for a large local company, to be able to meet with the admissions of the best colleges and universities North Carolina has to offer. These are things that really can be game-changing for them.
I am extremely proud of what you're doing, and I want to tell our viewers that Nadia was selected as the Rising Star last year for a program called Women to Women. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But congratulations on that. That means that you are just soaring. You're on your way. You're going to be Miss somebody.
I don't want it, but you know, I'll tell you, I struggle with it a little bit because I appreciate like the acknowledgement and the public recognition, but it's not about me at all. And you know, if you go to our website, you might see one photo of me, and that's on the founder page.
I've been there. Look.
It's truly about these girls, and my success is going to be when this organization is running without me.
Good.
That's success.
Nadia,
so,
thank you so
very,
very much. It's great. I
Thank you
enjoy
very
seeing
much.
you every time. You inspire me. My goodness.
Well, I have to say the same about you.
Well, thank you.
I'm looking forward to that lunch date at some point to pick your brain.
We've got to do that. We're going to take another short break right now, and make sure you stay with us, because when we come back, our next guest will help bring some recognition to the hard-working women that deserve it in our community. Find out when we return.
This is an A&T Historical Minute, and I am William Robson. The Corbett Sports Center opened December 3rd, 1978. It is named after Ellis F. Corbett, a 1931 graduate of A&T. Officially known as Mr. A&T, his official title was Sports Information Director. He performed many other roles on campus, including dorm counselor, and he was a member of the board in control of intercollegiate athletics. The three-story complex includes office space, classrooms, and 2 racquetball courts, in addition to an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Corbett also houses many of the human performance and leisure study courses at A&T. The Corbett Sports Center is the current home of the North Carolina A&T men and women's basketball teams and the swimming team. This has been a Historical Minute, and I am William Robson.
Welcome back to Triad Perspectives. Helping to support and recognize women's achievements is among the many duties of the Women to Women program. Janet Creek of the News and Record and Lynn Wooten of the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro are here to share more about this wonderful organization. And I greet you both and thank you so much for coming. And thank you for letting me be a part of it for the last few years.
Well, thank you for having us, and we've been glad to have you a part of it.
Well, thank you. I think it's wonderful. So explain what the Women to Women program is.
So the Women to Women program is a fund, an endowed permanent fund at the Community Foundation. And through women coming together and building this, we're up to $3.4 million now.
Wow.
The payout from that fund allows us to make grants to area nonprofits. And the goal is to help Greensboro's women and families in need.
So the nonprofits, you have to pick them to see if they're doing what you want them to do. Right?
We do. They apply for a grant, and we review those. We get a lot of grant applications, and then we follow them along and make sure that they are hitting the goals that they said when they applied for the grant.
And one of the things that I'm so pleased about is you name a Woman of the Year every year and a rising star. How does that process go?
So how that works is it started in 2011 with the News and Record seeing a need to honor some of the extraordinary work that women do in Greensboro. And we launch a nomination process in May, and it runs for about 8 weeks. It runs in the newspaper and online, and the nominations pour in. We have some criteria set up, and we receive, I think the first year we received 30-something nominations, and if not more. And each year it grows and grows. We get more and more.
How in the world do you weed that down to one person?
Well, there's a process, and we have an internal committee. It's made up of members of the Community Foundation and News and Record employees. We read all the nominations, and we do a process called multi-voting. We meet after we've all read the nominations, and it's a process that works. The top 10 to 12 rise to the top, and then we send those packets out to our selection committee out in their members in the community and past Women of the Year, and they have a scoring cards, and then they send it all back to us, and it goes into a great big spreadsheet, and that's how it's chosen. The woman's chosen.
That's incredible. And you have selected some wonderful women. Just name off 2 or 3 of them.
Well, Yolanda Laycraft was the first Woman of the Year. Layla Moore was the second. We had Margaret Arbuckle, she was the third, and Addie Jeffries, the Woman of the Year number 4, and Sue Cole was the 2015 Woman of the Year.
And then there's a part called the Rising Star, Lynn.
There is, and we were so amazed at the number of nominations for the Woman of the Year, and we realized that we were getting a good portion of younger women who were earlier in their careers, earlier in their contributions to the community, and we didn't think that that was necessarily fair to place them in the same category as somebody who's more accomplished, and yet they were very worthy of what they had been doing already. So we created sort of an under 40 category, the Rising Star, someone who's new to making a difference for Greensboro and just getting started, but worthy of recognition.
Like Nadia Moffett. That we
Exactly.
just spoke to.
She's a great example.
She certainly is. She certainly is. So are you excited about what's coming this year? Are you scared that you're going to be overshadowed by male?
We just look so forward to receiving those nominations. It's really an honor to receive so many and to see the great works that people are doing in this community. It's really amazing.
And this is not normally women that we hear about all the time,
And,
right?
and that is really, I think, one of the most surprising things about this is that you get nominations of women that are well known in the community, but you get so many that you have never heard of. I mean, with amazing stories. And I say every year, it's so nice to know how many women in this community are making such a difference.
And you probably aren't getting even half of those.
That's right.
In the nominations.
That's right. And I think our selection committee has done a great job of keeping it diverse. So they're not looking for the same type of women. It's Addie Jeffries went to Raleigh and changed the breast cancer law. And Margaret Arbuckle was honored for her work with education in Guilford County, and everybody has a different field. It's not the same, and so
that's
it's so
great.
diverse. It's great.
That's great. So if we have someone listening to us today that says, well, I know a lady who's doing really great stuff, how do they nominate that person, Lynn?
They can go to our website, the Community Foundation, or the News and Records. There's an application form. We ask some fairly detailed questions, and we want thoughtful, complete answers because if somebody has done the kind of thing that we're looking for, there should be a lot to say about them. And so we're looking for really robust answers.
So don't hold back.
Don't hold back.
Yeah, don't just say, she's kind.
Right, exactly.
You need to know why she's kind. And what
I
she
will
did.
say we've had a number of people who've nominated their wives or
Yeah.
their mothers.
And that's okay.
And that's
right?
great.
Yeah.
And that's great. But these have to hit a bar where they have made a difference for the community.
Okay, not just in their household.
That's correct.
That's
Right.
it. Oh, that's kind of tough, but obviously, Janet, there are plenty of those women out there.
There clearly are, and we're surprised each year by the new ones that come out.
So starting in May,
Starting
once
in May.
again, we can go to
The News and Record, you can go to our website, and it'll be right on the front page. And there's a button, you click it, and you can nominate someone. It will have the list of criteria, and just fill out the form.
okay, and then the same with the Community Foundation.
Exactly.
same
Same form.
Okay. Are you ever surprised at someone you read about in the nominations?
I'm surprised by the breadth and depth of those that we have to choose from. And then even for some of those who are well known, there are things about them that you never knew. I find this to be, it's one of my the day that we choose the Woman of the Year and the Rising Star is one of my favorite days at work every year because it's just it's exciting. And it's,
It's
also
like
and it's
the
also
Oscars.
and it's also a secret you have to keep for at least 2 months. So people ask me, and I'm
It
like,
is.
you'll have to wait and find out.
You have to wait till we open the envelope.
That's right.
At the party. And the party is, luncheon,
The luncheon.
I guess, is where?
It's always the third Monday.
That's correct. I believe it's October 24th
October.
this year.
The one thing that makes this so interesting is that these women, every one of these women are so humble. And it's like they don't even realize, when I call them to tell them they've been selected for Woman of the Year, no one can believe it. They don't even know they've been nominated most of the time. And they don't, they're humble. They're just beautiful, incredible human beings that are doing this work out of the goodness of their heart and because it's their passion. And so it's that's the most rewarding thing for me to see is that you're doing this great work and just doing it with so much humility.
That is wonderful. I am so proud of that Women to Women program, and I hope you will keep it going on long after we're all in a nursing home.
Well, it's not every day you can get almost 1,000 women in one room for lunch in
I know.
Greensboro. So I think that's a sign of the
I've
support
stood
for
in
it.
front of them and thought,
That's
whoa. Yeah, that's great. But thank you both very much for joining me today, and I know you're going to have a lot of success with this year's program.
Thank you very much.
That's all the time we have for today, and we'd like to hear from you, so be sure to leave your comments and suggestions on our website. Who do you like? Who don't you like? What you want to hear? What don't you want to hear? Just type blogs.ncat.edu/TV studio. And don't forget, you can watch us Mondays at 5:30 on Time Warner Cable Channel 69. You can connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook at Triad Perspectives. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Triad Perspectives .ncat.jomc. You can watch us on YouTube by searching NC Aggie TV. A special thanks to all of our guests today, and thank you very much for watching us. I'm Sandra Hughes. Have a great evening.